East Matagorda Bay, early January 1990. Just before Christmas, an Arctic front had pushed all the way down to the Gulf. The bay, just 3 or 4 feet deep in most places, completely froze over. And now, weeks later, dolphins were washing ashore everywhere, more than 24 in East Matagorda Bay alone, tagged and numbered, and across the Gulf there were hundreds more. No one knew why. Somewhere beneath the fog of a minus 134 degrees Celsius is a package labeled PO 109. It's a tissue sample, a ½ inch square, from one of those Matagorda Bay dolphins. Dr. David Busby from Texas A&M has studied tissue from 10 of them.
We found high levels of some of the organic pollutants, particularly the polychlorinated biphenyls, which are PCBs, the PCBs.
This is blubber from a dolphin. It's where PCBs call home. They can lodge there for years without creating a problem until the dolphin becomes stressed.
Let's say that the animals are deprived of food. They start to metabolize their fat, and as they metabolize fat, then they release the compounds back into the blood, and all of a sudden they may have this acute dosing effect with high levels of PCBs present in the blood.
16% here would be a summertime.
Graham Worthy has charted dead and stranded dolphins from all over the world. He says Busby's study is alarming because what he found were toxic levels 200 times greater than the level that causes birth defects in rats.
East Matagorda Bay is hours from here down the coast, but no one really believes that the problem with PCBs is isolated there. PCBs were used everywhere and washed into storm drains and creeks, which dumped into rivers and bays. And so researchers believe that PCBs are just as likely here in Galveston Bay as they were in East Matagorda Bay.
PCBs sit in the sediment, where scientists say they are ingested by microorganisms which begin their climb up the food chain, bioconcentrating or magnifying as they go.
So they're going to be at very high levels in the last individual in the food chain. Now, if you were to look at the marine food chain, that would be something like sharks or dolphins. If you look at the terrestrial food chain, that's us.
I just hope they're not dumping it into the bay too much. Take a chance, I guess, eating it.
Fishermen couldn't taste the PCBs if they were there, and there's no way for a shrimper to know if his catch is loaded with PCBs because the tests are never run.
We may be fine, but on the other hand, we don't know for certain. We need to look.
Okay, go over here to the side. Go over to the side.
Every year, dozens of dolphins, our friends at the top of the food chain, wash ashore, and teams of students and researchers work round the clock to save them. Maybe the reason we fight so hard for them is that we understand that in death, some of them are sending us a message, a warning. Dan Locke, 11 Up Close.